Scared is Better brings you straight down the drain. Scared is Better books are available for free on Kindle Unlimited and for sale on Amazon. A long shower was my reward for a day well lived. A bubble bath was for when I'd gone above and beyond. But either way, my bathtub in the first apartment I'd ever rented was my pride and joy. It was shockingly white marble, black fixtures that popped in a modern aesthetic that I loved, a wide ledge for hot tea and candles, even a little shelf for oils and bath salts. It was my sanctuary. Living alone meant no one told me, water isn't free, when my bath ran long. There was no sister banging on the door demanding her turn. But of course, there was a trade off, and it was the loneliness. It was just me, my phone calls with mom and dad on the way to work, and my sister's every other day check ins. But that night, I was thrilled to be alone. Sea Escape candle was lit. It was a clean, beachy scent that I loved. Classic rock was on low. Bubble bath poured. The pillow inflated. I was 20 years old in my own place in a job that paid for my Uber rides, takeout, this gorgeous apartment. I sank into the just below scalding water, bubbles up to my shoulders, and thought, everything is going right. I was just about to add my bath salts when everything changed. I felt the cool water around my feet. Just my feet. Everything else stayed hot. At first, I thought it was a faucet dripping on my toe. A glance down told me that wasn't the case. And then the dread hit, the kind you only feel when you're naked and completely vulnerable and something touches the tender skin on your instep. I shot out of the water so fast, I nearly knocked over the candle. That ghost of a touch, cool and deliberate, kept crawling up my leg. A finger? A claw? I tried to rationalize. It had to be a bug, a roach, a water beetle, something that had gotten mixed in the bubble bath or come up through the drain. I turned on the light and blew out the candle, pulling my robe tightly around me. The bubbles hid everything below the surface, and I hated the thought of reaching into that water, but the idea of leaving whatever it was swimming around there was worse. I steeled myself and I reached in. The hot water stung my arm as I felt around for the plug. I forced my eyes open, even though I wanted them shut. My fingers brushed the chain, and with a little pop, the drain opened. I exhaled, relieved, and that's when something gripped my hand. A thumb and a forefinger firmly gripping me, cold. I yanked back and I slipped, splashing water everywhere. It held on. The muscles in my arm seized as I struggled. The bubbles churned violently. My wrist was the only thing I could see, pale and sudsy and shaking. My flailing hit the bath salts, tipping them off the shelf and spilling them into the tub. The cardboard canister bobbing once before sinking. And instantly, the grip recoiled, like it had touched something burning. I scrabbled backwards, half crawling into my bedroom, gasping air like I had been drowning. I started fear crying, that ugly, silent, shaking kind, and felt nauseous at the memory of that touch. How was I supposed to tell anyone? Who would believe me? I forced myself to get mad so fear wouldn't take over. I pushed the bathroom door open again. The tub was now drained, only patches of bubbles left. No hand, no creature, not even a now preferred cockroach. I searched everywhere, behind the curtains, under the sink, even down the drain with a flashlight. Nothing. And anyway, there was a drain that had a grate. A hand couldn't fit through that. I sat on my bed in my robe and went through every logical explanation. Music, candle, hot water, comfort, but also fatigue. Had I fallen asleep? I'd been dreaming. I told myself to stop being dramatic. I wiped my face, locked my bedroom door, and I slept on the couch with all the lights on. The next morning, I told my mom all about it in the most ha-ha, not serious way possible. She laughed and said, "Well, people fall asleep in the tub all the time, and it's not safe. Maybe there really is a problem with your drain. Who knows?" She made me promise to stick to showers from now on for the time being, which gave me an idea. When I got to my apartment complex, I called the landlord's office and said my drain wouldn't empty. Was it crazy to lie about a monster in the pipes? Yes. Did I hesitate? No, I did not. Maintenance showed up super fast. Lynn, a middle-aged guy who had been really sweet when I moved in. "So it just started?" he asked. "Yep, no idea why." He held up a box and he shook it. "Drainies! Fixing your problems one block at a time, please. His dad joke delivery of the marketing line calmed me, and when he shook the box, it bumped into his glasses. He adjusted them, laughing. I'd be helpless without these. He went inside, but I stayed outside for about 10 minutes, feeling stupider and stupider for being scared. That's when my neighbor Svetla came out. She was a few years older than me, glamorous, always put together, long shiny hair, cool rocker outfits. Today she looked tired, her makeup a little smudged, her eyes a little puffy and red. Maintenance, she said, pointing to my door, pushing her black hair behind her shoulder. I nodded. Because my drain is completely not draining, she said. Same, I blurted out way too fast and way too loud. She looked down. I want him to look at my shower next. I don't know, it's just not working. I started to say, mine started last night too. But Lynn emerged, and everything inside me went cold. He was soaked, dripping, his clothes clinging to him, his skin gray. His glasses were in his hand, dangling uselessly. He stumbled once, dragging his boot across the concrete. One shoulder hung lower than the other, and his mouth slack, barely open. Svetla whispered, "Are you okay, Lynn?" He didn't look at her. He turned toward her door with a jerky, puppet-like movement, and then, with a sudden, unnaturally quick pivot, faced me. His head cocked slightly. His lips moved into a smile. Was the magnesium. And he lurched into Svetla's apartment. I backed away all the way to the railing, frozen. Svetla stared at her phone, and then at me. She had a panicked look in her eye, and then she shoved her phone back in her pocket. It's just a drain, she muttered. I'm going for a walk. She speed walked away. I could not stay another second. Lynn's gray skin, his voice, the dripping water. I grabbed my keys and I fled to my car. I nearly booked it straight to my parents' house, but some stupid, stubborn part of me refused to feel like a scared child. One night in a hotel, I told myself, and then I'll go back, and this will all seem silly. I couldn't even bring myself to look at the bath in the hotel. I didn't shower, and I didn't even want to wash my hands. Work the next day went too fast. My nerves hardened into something like determination. As I walked back to my apartment, something in the walkway made me stop. Trash, but not normal trash. Bath salts, Epsom salts, rock salt, salt packets, salt tablets, water softener pellets. Every door had some tossed outside like its owner had suddenly hated the sight of it. So the salt's causing the plumbing problem, I whispered, trying to find some logic, and then I looked up. The upper level walkway was full of neighbors standing at the railing, staring blankly into nothing. Doors opened. People came stumbling out, all moving with the same jerky, rocking gait Lynn had had. Some were wet, water dripping from their sleeves and their hair. And then I saw Svetla. Same outfit, same hair, but her face that gray, washed-out color now. Her eyes, a smoky charcoal. Her jaw sagging strangely like it wasn't anchored right. She stepped over the dandruff shampoo bottle she'd tossed outside. Her eyes didn't quite land on me as she whispered, "No more magnesium, no more salt." And she lurched forward towards me. I didn't care if I looked insane. I didn't care about my pride or all the stuff in my apartment. I knew right then that whatever was in my drain had gotten to every person in this complex. I scrambled backwards. I jumped the courtyard railing, sprinted to my car, and I slammed the door. The cluster of residents turned, locked, instant, unanimous action. Staring as I fumbled with my keys, Lynn was suddenly in my passenger side window, dripping. The others followed. I started the car and peeled out so fast out of the parking lot that I nearly clipped a dumpster. I called my mom, sobbing. "Mom, there's something happening, because of the drain, I'm coming home right now, Mom." And in a familiar, soothing voice she always used on me, she said, "Sweetheart, don't worry about the drain. And don't be mad, because your dad took your spare key. He went over to fix it, so now you can enjoy a warm bath when you get home. Actually, your dad just got here." There was a pause. "Honey, why are you wet?"